Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. I'm talking about The Color Purple, directed by Steven Spielberg. This film was released in 1985. This is based on a book by Alice Walker, released in 81, 82, something like that. And in my humble opinion, this is one of the best films of the 1980s. This is a very sad movie with great moments of hope all throughout the film. Very inspiring movie, actually. And we have an epic story here that spans about 4 decades. I believe it starts around early 20th century, 1910, and is essentially a story about two sisters, Celie and Nettie, who we meet at the beginning of the film as very young girls who live alone with their father until this scumbag known as Albert, played by Danny Glover. Danny Glover is great in this part. He makes you hate him in this role. This guy comes along and basically wants to marry one of these young girls after he notices them walking to school. Excuse me. So yeah, he's a real scumbag. And as a father myself, it is sort of difficult for me to watch stuff like this. Not just watch, but let alone process it. That is an annoying power tool, but I'm going to keep going. I am locked in, so fuck it. Okay, so yeah, he goes, Albert, the character of Albert, goes up to the father and says, I want to marry your daughter. He's talking about Nettie. And apparently the father thinks of Nettie as the attractive daughter. This fucking daughter. Anyways, so he says, no, you can't have her, but you can have the other one. So these two girls, you can tell that their father really isn't any prize whatsoever. So they're basically all that they have in the world. So when they're literally torn apart from each other, it is devastating. It is hard to see these two who really love each other just, broken up for the rest of the film. But here and there's little, moments of hope, especially later on when there's a time jump and they're grown up, well, not grown up, but older, and you have Whoopi Goldberg playing the older version of Celie. And Whoopi Goldberg, she is great in this film. She, at the time of this movie's release, was mainly known for comedies, movies like Burglar, Jumping Jack Flash, Fatal Beauty. She was a stand-up comedian around this time, in her early days. And, this is a drama. So this is a comedic actress knocking it out of the park in her very first dramatic role. And no surprise, about 5 years later, she would win herself a Best Supporting Actress Oscar for the movie Ghost. Much well-deserved award. And yeah, so she's basically, she's not really a wife at all. She's basically a slave to Albert. She's just basically there to make sure that he's fed, make sure that the house is clean, and she's just there to lay down and take it for him whenever he feels like he wants to fuck, basically. So it's real tough to see her endure this life because she is a really good person. She is just kind. She's very sweet. She's very sort of reserved and quiet and mousy and shy. But you see that she's a good person. So it's tough seeing her sort of put through the ringer for the majority of the film. And then some time goes by and her sister is able to make her way and finds her. So she breaks free of her father and somehow and yeah, she comes to live with them for a little bit, but it doesn't last very long because it's not that long after that Albert has his eye on her again. And so Celie does her best to protect her, but of course, Albert's gonna be Albert, and doesn't last very long because Nettie basically fights him off, and because she's, just so no, no, I'm not gonna do it. Albert pretty much just says, okay, bye, see ya. So yeah, It's sad seeing them get ripped apart from each other again for a second time. And then once you see that, it's pretty much the same old thing with Celie and Albert. The two of them alone, Celie being miserable. And then there's slight hope again later on when the character of the Winfrey character of Sophia comes into the film. I want to say about halfway through the film. And Sophia is not like Celie, the Whoopi Goldberg character. She is stronger. She has a backbone. She talks back. She has all these traits that you can see the character, Celie's character, sort of begin to admire. And slowly throughout the film, she starts to adopt a little bit of Sophia's personality, which is great to see. It's great to see the character of Celie slowly evolve. And Whoopi Goldberg sells that part of the character, especially when, because we already know Whoopi Goldberg is the kind of person that in real life, she'll speak her mind. I mean, the poor woman gets canceled left and right every time she decides to say something. I'm not going to get into any of that because honestly, I don't really follow up on that cancel culture bullshit. But all I know is Whoopi Goldberg has no problem really being sort of tough. So seeing her play this kind of person is completely against her type. And yeah, little by little, she does slowly sort of regain some kind of a backbone. And it also helps later on in the film when, to the surprise of Celie, Albert decides he's gonna let his mistress come home and stay with them. The character of Shug, at first you think maybe she's gonna be sort of another obstacle in Celie's way of being happy. And at first it is pretty much that, but then pretty much right away, not right away, but not that long after Shug comes to stay with Celie and Albert, she becomes kind of an ally and friend, a close friend to Celie. And so even though she is basically the live-in mistress, she kind of becomes, sort of a second sister to the character of Celie. And the two of them do bond with each other, and they couldn't be any more different from each other because Shug is more of a, compared to Celie, more of a modern female. She isn't afraid to, sort of dress provocatively and drink, and she's kind of a entertainer. She sings for people, and so she's more of a extrovert as opposed to Celie, who's much more of an introvert. And you could see Celie sort of adopt bits of Shug's characteristics in terms of sort of the strength that she possesses, because Shug doesn't take any shit from Albert, but Albert, he pretty much gives Celie the all the crap, basically. So all the crap goes to Celie, and he treats Shug like a princess. It's just pretty awful to watch. So all these things sort of pile up one on top of the other before finally, by the end of the film, you notice a change in Celie, and it is great. It is great when it finally happens. By the end of the film, she slowly does start to talk back here and there, and there is, I don't want to spoil it because much like some of the greatest films ever that keep you in a feeling of sadness for the most part, which this movie will do. For the most part, it keeps you sad, I want to say, about 3/4 of the movie before you finally start to see some real hope there. And I think that's really the overall message of the film, because the Celie character, for the most part, has no hope all throughout the movie. She is in a really shitty situation. But then you come to the end, and I'm not going to spoil it for those that haven't seen it, but the end of this film is It's one of my favorite endings of all time. This is a movie that every single time I rewatch it, I can't help but shed tears. It is, yeah, very emotional, and it does bring out the waterworks. I have no shame in saying it. I love stories like this that will put you, the audience, through the ringer, not just the main character. And by the time it's over, you're glad. You're actually glad you went on that journey, because the outcome is rewarding. And if you can put yourself through that kind of a experience for 2 hours or 2 hours plus, I think this film is longer than 2 hours, but if you're willing to sit through, a drama that's gonna make you feel, bring you the feels, and give you moments of, sadness, and many themes in this movie are explored through the expert handling of Mr. Spielberg. Themes of, racism, poverty, sexism, pedophilia, domestic violence, and all very important subjects. And the film could have very easily tried to be a little too preachy, but it doesn't do that whatsoever. It mainly just lets these subjects speak for themselves. We don't get any long speeches or long monologues about why any of these things are bad or anything like that. It's just it shows you, doesn't tell you. And uh, we have just a great drama in The Color Purple that I think to this day will click with audiences, because it is a beautiful story, and to me it's timeless. The soundtrack in the film is great as well. This is one of the collaborations with a different musician besides John Williams that Spielberg has in a movie. Most of his movies, you'll see John Williams named in the credits under music, but in this film he collaborates with Quincy Jones, one of the legends of music, and the Quincy Jones music score in this movie is great. Really goes perfectly hand in hand with the story. And I don't know what else I can touch on. Let's see. I don't want to spoil anything. I just want to mainly give you my overall impressions that this is a sad story, but like I said, moments of hope, and an ending that will surely satisfy anyone that is willing to sit through a tearjerker. So if that sounds like it is up your alley and you want to feel, well, by the end of the film, like you've gone on a journey, this is one of those movies, one of those great movie experiences that I highly recommend to anyone seeking out many of the old films. And doesn't matter if you are a fan of Spielberg, or just like 80s movies, or just looking for a good period film. This will check all those boxes, but overall, as an overall drama, this has all the makings of a great drama. Highly recommend this film, The Color Purple. And I think not that long ago, I did catch it on HBO Max. I had to give it a rewatch because I hadn't seen it in years. First time I watched it, I was a very young kid. Probably had no business watching at the age of 6 or 7, given all the adult themes in the film. But helped me grow up a bit. So there it is. Ooh, someone's getting home, so I better wrap this up. That is the hard copy. They're out there. But yeah, The Color Purple is an amazing experience. Please check it out. Get yourself a hard copy or watch it on HBO Max if you can. So that about does it for this review. I am Orlando Ruiz Jr. Thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, and keep a lookout for the next review. I am constantly going through my list. Oh, there's my wife getting home. And she said I had to finish before she got home. I got to help out around the house. So, alrighty. Thank you very much. Till next time. God bless.